I'm not even sure why you guys are subscribed, but thank you anyway. Talk a little bit about what they are about. Wow, that's a dead giveaway. Notice the pun there. If I am actually okay at predicting my own favorites, if that makes sense. Hello lovely bookworms, I'm Esmay from Paradise of Pages on Instagram and also on Twitter, and welcome to a new video. As you could have already seen from the title, today we are doing a 5-star predictions. I feel like it's been a while since I did one of these, maybe not, but it feels like it's been a while for me. And I have a couple of books that I am very excited to read and I feel like will be 100% 5 stars for me. I am gonna keep 5-star predictions, at least from now on, for the upcoming future, a little bit smaller. And the reason why is that I feel like this way it's gonna be easier for me to actually finish all of them and then give you sort of some feedback on how my predictions went and if I am actually okay at predicting my own favorites, if that makes sense. So I have 5 here today that I want to talk about. Some of them, I think one of them is a sequel, so I'll get that out of the way in a little bit. We'll start with that one because I feel like it's a dead given that that one will be 5 stars. I mean, I have been majorly put off by series in the past where a second book would be an all-time favorite and then the third or somewhere in the series was an absolute bust for me, but I feel like with this series that probably won't happen, and it's been too long since I've read this one, or at least have read the first 2, and I desperately have to sort of push myself over the edge to read it. And I feel like I will probably be better reading this because I've been talking about this with a couple of people. But enough talking, let's just at least get into the 5 books. I will try to talk about them a little bit and tell you a little bit about what they are about. Talk a little bit about what they are about. Wow. Solid English, Esmay. Let's just start with the first one then and get sort of the elephant in the room because it's also the biggest book on here. And it's dirty. What did I do to it? I don't know. I haven't read it, so that can't be it. But the book I am talking about is Lightbringer by Clara Legrand. This is the 3rd book in the Imperium trilogy. So after Furyborn and Kingsbane, Lightbringer is the 3rd and the sequel and the final book and the conclusion, and I need to read it. So basically, let me talk about Furyborn a little bit. So Furyborn follows 2 different protagonists. It follows Riel and it follows, was there Eliana? Yes, Eliana. Eliana is in the future, Riel is in the past, and we have to figure out what happens with Riel to sort of transpire into Eliana's future, if that makes sense. And I'm not going to say anything about this 3rd book, but from what I've heard, it immediately picks up after everything that's happened in Kingsbane. And for both books, actually, I have a full review up on the channel. If you want to check that out, please don't. It's been a while since I've reviewed them, but I have done them, which is how much I love them. And I mean, I don't do enough reviews, but these 2 I have reviewed. Both of them were 5 stars, and I feel like the dynamic between these 2 characters and their past and the future is so interesting and so well woven together, and I'm just very scared to see what will happen with this one because I feel like my heart is gonna be absolutely broken and I'm just not very happy with everything that will happen. Though we are messing with timelines, so I'm not sure what will happen. I have no idea where this will go, and this is one of those books where I am both anxious and excited to read it. Like, I know that this book will be 5 stars, or at least I predict it to be 5 stars, hence why it's on this list. But with this one, I've put it off for so long because I'm just so scared to see what will happen. And I mean, it's pretty big. I mean, it's pretty big. And like I said, it's a little bit smudged here, but I'm just so scared to finally get into this, and I feel like the Furyborn or the Imperium trilogy in general has been severely underrated because I don't hear a lot of people talking about them, and in general I feel like they're so well written and so well rounded, and I can't wait to dive into it, but I'm scared, and this is me pushing myself to actually read this book soon. It'll probably not be this year because it's a break, but maybe next year. Hopefully next year. Look at me saying that I'm gonna put books on here that I think I will read in the near future, and then just saying, you know what, I might not even read it in 2022. I'm gonna hold myself accountable. I am gonna read it in 2022, and I will do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I hope. So book number 2 is one that I was gifted by a really good friend of mine, and I'm actually supposed to read this month, but I don't think I will because it's one of my friends' favorites. So I'm gonna read that in February for a little thing that she's doing. Did I just say February? I meant 2022. I'm not sure when I'll read it. But this is a favorite of Ashley, and I will link her down below if you're wondering, by the way, and that is These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. I'm pretty sure she's actually going to read Our Violent Ends in December, so might as well add that to the list here. But this is a Romeo and Juliet retelling set in Shanghai, and other than that, I don't know too much about it. I think that already says enough, and that already sort of pushes me over the edge to want to read it. Also, I know that a good friend of mine, Jane, actually DNF'd it, so that gives me hope, because Jane and I have the complete polar opposite ideas, or, well, things we love in fantasy books. Like, we can agree on romance books, we have just recently realized, but we don't agree on fantasy books. Or at least we don't enjoy the same thing. But she didn't enjoy this one, so that gives me a lot of hope that I will. And Ashley loved it, and Ashley and I have the same reading taste, so that also gives me hope. So I might give it too much, there might be too much hope, and I might just not like it, but I feel like I will absolutely devour this book once I actually start with it. But I should actually start with it, which is the entire point of this video. Not the fact that I think it will be 5 stars, but just the fact that I am holding myself accountable to reading all of these books. So yeah, that is book number 2 on this list. Right, moving on to book number 3. Book number 3 is a difficult book to describe because let me preface this by saying I put this on my TBR because of the author. Because I actually read another book by this author, which is Sky in the Deep. So we're talking about Adrian Young, and I will move this to this side and so you can see the book over here. We are talking about The Last Legacy by Adrian Young. I have read quite a few of Adrian Young's books. I have read Sky in the Deep, The Girl the Sea Gave Back, Fable, and Namesake, which I'm pretty sure is about all of her books. And The Last Legacy's synopsis is quite vague to me. I don't know the setting of it. Like, I only know that the main protagonist gets this important call from her family to go back to Bastien or something, and something with it sort of feels like mafia kind of funky business going on, and she has to sort of uproot this to sort of save her family's legacy. And I also know that her parents were murdered by the same sort of funky business going on. Other than that, I don't know anything about The Last Legacy, and like I said, I don't mind that too much because I like going into books not knowing too much, but I literally cannot give you the synopsis for this because I don't know how to describe it, which is strange because I actually did my research for this video, which is the first, which I rarely do because I'm very bad at giving you synopsises for books, which you should know at this point. I'm not even sure why you guys are subscribed, but thank you anyway. And yeah, I'm really, really excited for it. I know that it's already been released and I have to get my hands on this, which I will soon, hopefully. And other than that, I am just really, really, really excited about it. I mean, I've loved almost everything by this author. The only thing that wasn't my absolute favorite was The Girl the Sea Gave Back, which was good, but not as great as Sky in the Deep and Fable. But I'm really, really excited about it. I can't wait to actually read it. Also, weird fact, On Goodreads, this actually says Fable 3, which I know it isn't. It's a standalone. It literally says so in the synopsis, but it says Fable 3, which is really, really, really strange. But that also gave me the feeling that this might be a pirate story, but I feel like it's probably not a pirate story. In any case, once I actually read this book, I might be able to tell you more about it, or I might be just as confused. Who knows? And yeah, that is book number 3. Alright, I then have a book that I feel like everyone has been raving about. I also do not have this book yet. I will get it as soon as I can, and that is The Prison Healer. The Prison Healer, I feel, is something I will eat right up. So we follow a main protagonist who is the prison healer of a very important prison, and in this prison at some point a queen, or at least I know it's a queen, gets jailed, so gets locked up, and this queen has to survive long enough to be able to partake in something I think is called the ordeal, and it's some type of trial that she has to overcome in order to become free. But considering this queen is very, very sick, she'll probably not make it. Also, fun fact, no one has ever survived these trials, so that's a dead giveaway. Notice the pun there. And at one point, our main protagonist actually gets a message from, I think it's her family, that says, "We are on our way, make sure she doesn't die." And so our main protagonist decides to volunteer for the ordeal, or for this trial, and if she manages to get out of this alive, she and this queen are both free to go. But as I just said, no one's ever survived this trial, so our main protagonist is in for a lot of pain and suffering. So yeah, I'm in general just very, very excited about this. Not alone from the cover, because I'm pretty sure that what drew me to this first was the cover. This is a trilogy from what I know. At least I know there's going to be 3 books out. Maybe it's more. It's at least 3. And I feel like this will probably be on my all-time favorites shelf. I am so excited to read this one, and I hope I can get to it as soon as possible. Also, I really have to get my grubby little hands on it, because I want it in my collection. And that already brings us to the final book that I want to talk about, and this is definitely a book that is on my pile of shame. I feel like I don't have a gigantic pile of shame. If I start a book, I tend to finish it or DNF it, which is, I rarely DNF books. I think I DNF'd 1 book this year, and this book has, I mean, it's not DNF because I am gonna finish it, because I've only read 1 chapter of it. But I have put it off, because I was supposed to read this during Polarthon 2021, which was in February. And this was actually a gift for my birthday last year from Sasha. So thank you, Sasha, for giving this to me. I will finally read it, I promise. And that is The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. Everything I know from this is that it's polar fantasy. So I will read you the synopsis so that you at least have a sampling of what this is about. At the edge of the Russian wilderness, winter lasts most of the year and the snowdrifts grow taller than houses. But Facilia doesn't mind. She spends the winter nights huddled around the embers of a fire with her beloved siblings, listening to her nurse's fairy tales. Above all, she loves the chilling story of Frost, the blue-eyed winter demon who appears in the frigid night to claim unwary souls. Wise Russians fear him, her nurse says, and honor the spirits of house and yard and forest that protect their homes from evil. After Facilia's mother dies, her father goes to Moscow and brings home a new wife. Fiercely devout, city-bred, Facilia's new stepmother forbids the family from honoring the household spirits. The family acquiesces, but Facilia is frightened, sensing that more hinges upon their rituals than anyone knows. And indeed, crops begin to fail, evil creatures of the forest creep nearer, and misfortune stalks the village. All the while, Facilia's stepmother grows ever harsher in her determination to groom her rebellious stepdaughter for either marriage or confinement in a convent. As danger circles, Facilia must defy even people she loves and call on dangerous gifts she has long concealed. This in order to protect her family from a threat that seems to have stepped from her nurse's most frightening tales. The Baron the Nightingale is a magical debut novel from a gifted and gorgeous voice. It spins an irresistible spell, and it announces the arrival of a singular talent. I didn't know this was a first release, actually. I feel like that is, I mean, I haven't read it yet, but from what I've heard, it's a really, really amazing debut then. In general, I'm just very excited for this. After now reading the synopsis again, I'm just very, very excited for this. Like I said, it's a polar fantasy. I feel like it will have everything that I will need in the winter months, so I am probably going to read it either in January or during the actual Polarthon, because I feel like Polarthon 2022 will probably be in February again. Really excited for that. And other than that, I'm just really, really, really curious to see what this book will hold for me. Oh, there's still a bookmark in here. I am 27 pages into it. Yeah. So I will finish this. I actually managed to get my hands on a special edition set from Fairy Loot, so that should be here somewhere as well. And yeah, that is the final book on this list. So those, let me quickly grab them, or at least the ones I have are my 5 books. So I have The Baron the Nightingale, Lightbringer, These Violent Delights, and then The Last Legacy, and The Prison Healer. I feel like all 5 of these books are very different. They're all fantasy, because I'm still me. I might be reading a lot of romance now, but I'm still me. And I don't know, I really hope that I can get to all of these soon, and that is everything for this video. I hope you've enjoyed seeing the books that are on my 5-star prediction list. Are any of these books on your list, or have you read any of these? Because do let me know if you've loved them, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye!